Mercedes. He had all these cars he had worked for.
Yeah.
So, and he loves to live life. He loves luxury things. And he came from a background of a good family, a very solid family. The way we're raised is exactly the way Dico was raised with his parents. And they were very, very, very well off in Beirut, and that's where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
And they always lived a luxury life. So he's used to that. And I think, that motivated him to do the same thing when he came here when he was 14 years old. So, and not giving up. So, as having kids, if you're, the financial situation, I think you should have kids when you're ready, because I don't want to say resent them, but it's a lot of work, and you're going to think, I wasn't ready. What am I going to do? Why, I don't know how to do this, which is a concern a mother always has. But for me, it happened at a very young age. I had Giovanna when I was 22 years old, and I myself was very young. So, but as I, you grow from experience, and that's the number one thing. Any book you're going to read, anyone says something to you, nothing's going to work. It's through experience and patience.
Mm-hmm.
So I know financial situation might be something at hand, but you got to be ready for it. But then again, if it happens, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. So don't take it for granted. And God wanted to, knows what's going to happen, and he's got his own plans for you. So just appreciate it. Have a lot of patience. That's the best advice I can give to anybody. Just have patience, and your life will change. And you don't understand what that means until you have it. So you kind of have to be ready mentally. So life goes, by a little easier, and you appreciate everything you have around you.
Sure. Well, before I move off of your children and that topic, I want to ask you a fun question. It's only because I think about it. You ever get baby fever again? You don't have to answer that, but
what was the question?
Well, like I said, I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old, and I've always heard moms get baby fever, and we were around some couples this last weekend with some babies. I thought, I just missed those days when our kids were little babies. They were so sweet and innocent, and I just loved holding them. So I know what baby fever is.
Especially when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Especially when they're sleeping. But baby fever-wise, Giovanna and then Gianelle at the age of 25, I would say. And Coco just happened 8 years later. It was a blessing to have Coco. And actually, the Pope came over our house. The Armenian Pope came over our house, and we were sitting at the dinner table. And it was an exclusive dinner. He barely goes to anybody's house, and they shut down LAX for him. And he's very, very big, and like the Pope, but he's an Armenian Pope. So he came to our house, and we were sitting at the dinner table, and he asked us. He said, "Where's your son?" to my husband, and Dico goes, "Well, I don't have a son." He goes, "You need a son. Let's pray." So, okay, let's pray. How embarrassing is this? And after that, we had Coco 2 weeks later.
Wow.
3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. So it was, he's a blessing. But having 2 kids for me was little. I felt like I could handle one more. And like I said, Coco was a blessing, and it was a boy, and to carry the last name too. So now I feel complete. I cannot handle another one. There's no way. There's no baby fever here. If I take someone's baby and I love it, it's out of my hands in 10 minutes. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have patience anymore. And that's one thing that you don't have anymore is patience the older you get, because that's when it's good to have it when you're young, because you're just fresh and you have patience.
Sure.
So when you get older, you don't have patience.
I appreciate that honest answer. Now, well, you'll have grandchildren to look forward to one day.
Well, let's take it easy on that.
So, we talked about a lot of the upsides. You've had some challenges too with cancer. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure, of course. Well, I was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 42 years old, and my mom was the same age. And for some reason, I knew I was going to get it. I had an instinct about it, so I did get it. And I said yes to a double mastectomy and to remove both breasts. And I went and got a reconstructive surgery as well after 6 months after filming. And what it does is it just changes your entire life. And it just changed my entire life. There are many ways your body can change when you're living with cancer. Breast cancer is one of the most significant changes you may undergo with a double mastectomy and reconstructive. You need to love your body after your body changes, and what's important is that you try to feel good about your body, choosing whatever path that is right for you. Having breast cancer is like a wake-up call. You just realize how precious everything is around you, and you shouldn't take it for granted. You just have to refocus your energy on things, being happy, being around people that you love. And the most important thing is that you need to love yourself and your body most of all. And the reconstructive surgery, I decided to have that. It wasn't an easy decision at all to make. It was the hardest thing to do. And with the double mastectomy, I decided to do it in a matter of 10 minutes because at that time my dad was in the hospital, and at that he was dying of cancer too, and he didn't even know that I had cancer. And so and he died December 5, and I went into my surgery for the double mastectomy on January 20. So, my nerves were shot. I was not in the right state of mind, still mourning over my dad's death. Even during his funeral, nobody even knew that I had cancer. I just kept it to myself and just was only thinking about him. I wasn't thinking about myself at all. So it just takes a serious emotional toll on a woman, and it can even affect the way she looks and at herself. So it's pretty difficult. It can affect her self-esteem and just how she feels about herself as a woman, and kind of, scared to know that, what's going to happen. Is it going to come back? Is it not going to come back? You always have that, concern in the back of your mind, not knowing what's going to happen. So, yeah, I've gone through a lot in my life since childhood, and then having to deal with my dad and then myself. So it hasn't been an easy life. It's been a turmoil. It's been difficult. So, but women need to know that you got to love yourself and don't give up. And it is very difficult, but you need to, get over it. You need to get over the turmoil and do what you got to do. That's what I always say. Do what you got to do. So it was a difficult time in my life.
I'm sure. I have a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Heather Tudor. She went through a double mastectomy because of breast cancer at the age of 20. I believe she was 20.
Wow.
And she's in her early 30s now. And she's just a beautiful soul. She's a great mom, a great wife. But I also feel that maybe she struggles sometimes with how she feels about herself. And you are such a glamorous, beautiful person from, what we see visually. How do you give yourself the confidence to go out and feel beautiful again after something like that? I mean, as a man, I would never know what it would feel or be like. But clearly you've overcome that. And so what would you tell somebody like a Heather, like, besides you got to feel good about yourself, but how do you overcome that so you feel beautiful again?
Well, see, a situation, let me give you a little synopsis of what had happened during my double mastectomy. I was in bed it takes like 6 weeks to get over it, to start healing. um, I after my surgery, I was in bed and on medication, and my husband called me and he said, I just woke up. It was 1 in the afternoon, and I felt like going through a depression. It kind of like hit me that I mean, it hit me a year ago, to be honest with you, because I was in denial the whole time. Things happened just so fast, even with filming. So I was in bed, and my husband called me. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just woke up." And he said, "I'm gonna." I said, and he noticed from my voice that I wasn't in the right state of mind. And he said, "I'm gonna call the nurse." I said, "No, no, I don't want the nurse to come because I had a nurse taking care of me." And I said, "I don't want her to come." He said, I'm calling her. And he's always my backbone. He's always taking care of me. He's always been like my right hand. I can't do it without him, basically. I can't do anything without him. That's why I always turn to him, because he gives me the support and the confidence. So the nurse came over and she took me for a walk. And I can only walk for 10 minutes. And that walk did such a big deal, just to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let go of yourself. Don't feel like you have to let go. You can get back to normal by doing normal things in life, and it's baby steps. Don't try to, jump and try to do things that you were doing when you didn't have surgery. You have to take it one step at a time. And I had filming to do after 6 weeks. They needed me, so I had no choice but to get out and to get dressed, put on my makeup, and I didn't notice what I had gone through. So filming was such a big deal to me, and even though I was in so much pain, I was in excruciating pain. I had expanders on my breast, and that's like 1,000-pound metal on each breast. Imagine that. And I was still on meds when I was filming because I couldn't take the pain. I had to go to the doctors, and they had to, fill in the breast with water and to expand it. And those days, I remember I'd come to bed, I'd sleep, I couldn't take it. I wouldn't film those days. It's excruciating pain. Those expanders kill you. Nobody tells you what they are, and I didn't even know from experience. I was like, what is this? It hurts, it's heavy, and it was really, really bad. But you just have to take the baby steps and take it one day at a time. It is very difficult, but you can overcome it. Anybody can overcome it, and don't be depressed. It's really not worth it. It's not worth getting depressed over it. Once you go into depression, that's all you do. It's like you're depressed. So don't let your mind go there, and just think of good things and get out of the house. And my doctor told me, take her out of the house the second week. And I'm thinking to myself, what is he saying? So I remember my daughter, Giovanna, she's very persistent.
Mm-hmm.
She told me, she said, "Mom, I'm going to take you to your hair." I'm like, I can barely see her. I mean, I'm on meds. I can barely see. All I do is hear her say, "Mom, I'm going to take you to your hair. Mom, I'm going to take you to your hair." I'm like, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if I don't get up and go, she's going to stand there and do this to me, tell me this the whole time. I better get up so she shuts up. So I remember wearing my big coat. I had tubes on the side with blood, and the nurse would come, of course, change it, and my daughters changed it for me too. And she took me to my hair, and being on the show, it was confidential, like who the new housewife was, right? And nobody knew about it. So, and I wasn't supposed to say anything, and I wasn't out there. I mean, it wasn't out there that I was a new housewife. So we finally went to the salon. I don't even know how I sat into the car, how I got out of the car. I went in the salon. Everybody just gathered to the front. Then I'm thinking, do these people know I'm the housewife, or they're in the front because I look crazy right now? Because I'm thinking, what? what is going on? But I was not in the right state of mind. I went, I sat down, did my hair, did not know what was going on, didn't even notice that I was doing it, and went back into the car. And I don't know anything. I'm just like in another world. I come home, but it felt